This is a production of KMmedia.pro. Welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. Our goal is simple: to explore evolving ideas one conversation at a time. So come on over into our world. I know you'll like it, because on today's show, I gotta tell you, we don't often get a chance to talk to people of this caliber, and I'm really excited that she is here to talk with us today. She is an award-winning coach, author, speaker. She really does it all, and she is a great human being. And before I introduce her, though, I've got to talk to Nathan a little bit. How are you, Nathan?
I'm doing good, but more importantly, how are you? It sounds like you had quite the trial this week.
In a word, yes.
Pun intended.
Pun intended, yes, indeed. I actually had to run encore presentations on Monday and Wednesday because I was stuck outside of a courtroom in snowy Spokane waiting to testify because I was a bus driver for 12 years, and I know quite a little bit about being a bus driver. I was called as an expert witness for a case that they had over there, and I thought it was going to be a Monday quickie out by Tuesday. I ended up staying the night on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and ended up having to drive home on Thursday in the snowy 20-degree weather all the way from there to here. So I'm a little tired, but it was quite a week, and I've got some stories to tell, and we'll get into that. Now, maybe not today, but because I want to spend most of the time with Natalie. But we'll get into some of the unique things that I found over time in Spokane. First of all, I got to tell you, the courthouse there was built in '05 or something like that, like 1905, and they don't have any kiosks for coffee or anything. So you spend all day there, and there's a drinking fountain, and that's all you get. Then you're sitting there and in the trial all day, and you're not even in the trial. You're in the lobby because you're not allowed to listen to anything that's going on. So anyway, it was a lot of fun, but more importantly, Nathan, we've got a wonderful guest, and because I do so well at last names, I'm not even going to attempt Natalie's last name. I'll let her say it. Natalie, how are you?
I'm great, Kevin. My last name is Plamondon-Thomas. I'm sure you would have done fine.
Just say that again.
Plamondon-Thomas.
Plamondon-Thomas.
There you go.
There we go.
It's a very famous French-Canadian name.
Oh.
Plamondon, yeah.
Oh, very cool. Kind of like McDonald in Ireland kind of thing.
There you go.
It's very, very much so. You're an extraordinary young lady, and I'm so glad that you're here because you're going to be able to help people today. And by the way, if you want to follow along with us, you can go to thinkyourself.com and you can find out all about the work that she does, the coaching, the speaking, the book she's written, all you do it all. It's just really quite amazing. And how did you get started in this business doing so much for people?
I have to say that I had a dream. I wanted to be a professional speaker, but I had the voice in my head telling me, what? You want to be a speaker like in English? Like you don't even speak English. You want to write books in English? Are you kidding me? It's never going to work. You're not good enough. And I realized that this voice in my head was not helping me at all. and I needed to change the way that I talk to myself. And that's when I started to study neuroscience, and I created a system to reprogram the 6 layers of the brain that need to be addressed in order to really make a transformation, to really make a permanent change. Because we have all these little, we change a little habit here and there, and we think it's going to change our world. And then just like everybody's probably going to do on January 1st, that resolution. And then starting January 15, they'll probably drop their membership at the gym. And then in February, nobody's going to go anymore. It's just, we need to make change at a much deeper level. We need to work in a lot more than we work out. Because back then I was personal trainer, fitness instructor, nutrition wellness specialist, and I was helping people with their health. And I realized, you know what? We need to work in even more than we need to work out. We need to really change the negative self-talk, the limiting belief, and all that stuff. It's eating us alive. Like, we don't talk to people like that. Or do you walk around, Kevin? Hey, oh, hi, you look really fat. Oh, hi, you're starting a business? Oh, it's never going to work. You're not good enough. Like, we don't do that. We don't talk to people like this, but we talk to ourselves like that. It's totally wrong. Totally wrong.
It is. Now, you started out as a in Canada. You are a very famous, world-renowned fitness trainer and nutrition coach, correct?
Yeah, so that was back in the days. Now I'm more known for the confidence work that I do. But yeah, I was Fitness Instructor of the Year for Canada in 2007. So that's over 15 years ago when I started my mindset journey. Now I'm very proud to be known as a speaker, as a conference. I was 2021 Canadian Presenter of the Year for Canada.
Wow.
So I'm more known now for the confidence, for the mindset. I had a big thing that just happened to me, actually, just to show you how much confidence is more sexy now. Because when I started talking on confidence 15 years ago, people were not really into this. You know what I mean? Like, I was offering my services to speak in organization, to associations, and I, confidence was not super in. People wanted to have hard skill. But nowadays, mindset is what everything is after. I even got a call from Kevin Harrington from the Shark Tank and Jim Britt. They wanted me to write a chapter in their most recent book, Cracking the Rich Code, because they understand that mindset is everything. Our book is endorsed on the cover by Tony Robbins. So I have to tell you, highly successful people in the major leagues have understood that mindset is everything. So now confidence is very popular. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody needs it. And now we understand that mindset is the element that is missing very often in all the changes and all the things that we're trying to do.
I know you've been doing this a lot and you studied it a lot. Why is it that we do what we do to ourselves? Because it seems to be really self-defeating, yet we continue to do it. And sadly, a lot of us believe in what we are telling ourselves, which has nothing to do with the truth.
I know. It's absolutely crazy. I have a super funny story I can tell you about that just before we move on, and in me answering your question as to why we do this. Well, the answer is simple. We respond to the language and the words that we're hearing in our head. But here's something that happened to me when I moved to Toronto from Quebec. So a small town girl, and then I get into big Toronto city. I start working in a gym, and I was new. And I don't know if you've been there before. Maybe everybody's listening today. You've been in a position in your life where you didn't know a lot of people. You were just starting and you didn't know what you were doing. And well, that's me. That was there. And how do you go from that? I was begging my boss from pulling my classes off the schedule because there was only 2 people in them. And, I was really not Madame Popular, right? Like nothing was working for me. So how do you go from that to becoming Fitness of the Year for Canada less than a year later? Well, I'll tell you what happened. The gym was introducing a new dance program. And nobody knew that about me, but I do have a dance background. So I had been a dancer before moving to Toronto, but people didn't know that about me. So picture yourself. So you're on stage and then you're presenting to over 150 other instructors in the Toronto region. They're all much better than you. And then you're super embarrassed, but you push through, and then you're on stage and you totally rock it. Like, when you got it. Like, you remember that time when you're doing something and you're like, oh yeah, I'm in my element. I'm totally rocking this. And then you can see all the faces turning towards you with a shocked look on their face. And then because they have no idea that you can dance like that, right? So I don't know what it would do for you, but for me, it had a huge impact. I started strutting around in the gym, putting my hand up to be team leader for this, team leader for that. And then my classes became really packed because I was showing so much confidence. So one day, one of the participants corners me in the gym in the change room and says, Nathalie, I have to tell you, we really started respecting you since what happened to you on that day. Like, you started acting as if you owned the place instead of being embarrassed. And I'm like, what? What do you mean embarrassed? Well, Kevin, it turns out that I had a wardrobe malfunction that day. My boing had been sticking out the whole time. That's why everybody was looking at me with a shocked look on their face. It had nothing to do about me being a good dancer, but I didn't know that. I was responding to a different story in my head, right? So instead of that, I was responding to a different story. And when she told me, I was really, really embarrassed, but it was too late. I was already the queen of the gym. So it didn't really matter after all what had happened to me, because I had responded to a different story in my head. So that's what I do for a living. I teach people how to change the story inside our head, change the story that we respond to so that it has a positive impact. Because it doesn't matter. One of the most embarrassing moments of my life could have ruined me, and instead it had a very different impact. So we only respond to the story in our head. And that is why people do the reverse of what they know they should be doing, because they listen to that voice inside their head. And we need to reprogram that voice to tell us what we need to hear, what we want to hear. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does indeed. That's an incredible story, by the way. But fortunately, you didn't know about the malfunction until you were off stage or a long time
months later.
Because that could have been, really unique. And of course, nobody pointed at you. And anyway, so we're enough of that. But I got to ask you, it's great that you've developed that experience and you've got the confidence and you're the confidence coach and you're able to do that. Why is it that we have so many people in our lives? And I know you've worked on this and worked with people a great deal about this. Why do we have so many people in our lives who don't think that we can do stuff? When we say, I want to do this, they say, oh, now, Nathalie, you can, you get your head out of the clouds. You've got to go get a job, and you've got to, you got to pay rent, and you want to be a what? You want to be the best in the world? Oh, come on, you can't. Why do we have so many people that act like that to us?
Well, we're talking about support system here, and when everybody is only operating in their own model of reality. So if themselves have a low self-esteem, or they're experiencing imposter syndrome, or they are themselves unsure and not confident, of course, they will project that to people around. Now, if there's so many people in your surrounding that are like that, it's on you. You got to change the people you hang out with. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, we kind of choose the people around us, and if we can't choose them, like we cannot choose to change parents or change our siblings, or like family is family, but we can choose to spend less time with them if they are very toxic for us. The first thing we always do with people that we love, with our friends that are very negative, is try to help them. Of course, we start there. We start to make them listen to this show today, and you send them a copy of my new book, Think Yourself Confident, for Christmas, and you try to help them. Of course, we start there. After a while, when you realize that some people won't support you, they are in your environment, and you're only the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So you got to start hanging out with people that will be a good influence on you, and that will increase your average, instead of you being the most positive person in your surrounding. Then you increase their average. And if you're the smartest people in the room, you're in the wrong room. you gotta keep hanging out with people that will lift up your own average, right? So
have you noticed?
Go ahead.
Have you noticed that when you do that, when you raise your game and raise your vibration, and you're really working to be the best that you can be, and you believe in yourself, that those people tend to kind of fall away over time, don't they?
Exactly, because we step up to the next level, and some people were a stepping stone towards this next level of our life, and eventually they might step up later and join you at that level, but maybe you'll be ready to go to the next level again. So people are stepping stones around us, and we are, like, I don't know a lot of people that are with their very first boyfriend that they met in high school. Like they have met many different people before marrying the person that will be their spouse forever, right? So we all learn from each experience, from each relationship, from each job. So my husband worked for the same company for 38 years, but not everybody will have that chance to have one job, right? So most people do so many different things because we're just going through life, and everything is a stepping stone in our own journey. So it doesn't really matter at the end if people that are not at your level anymore, you seem to disconnect, and it's on us to make sure to keep the links, and then to keep the relationship with people that we believe are important. And then if we believe that we need to move on, then it's okay as well. Nobody's going to be mad at us for going to another level, right? And sometimes it's them. They go to the next level and we stay, right? Not always. It can be us as well.
Exactly. It was funny because when I was testifying finally testified on Wednesday, and he said, okay, let's go through your background. What have you done? What are your jobs that you've had? And the way that it came out, it sounded like I can't keep a job because I've done so many different things. And over time, and I actually said that. I said, "Would you think that I can't keep a job?" But every time that I changed jobs, it was for a better deal, and it was to improve myself and to continue moving on. And I think we all need to do that. But I'll tell you, when I started the radio in 2003, I had a group of friends. I had a wife. I had all of these things. Well, at the end of that, and through the post radio years, they all went away, every one of them. But I have now replaced them with people that believe in me and believe in what I can do. And so I am so blessed and gifted to be with people like you rather than with people like them, because you can help me attain a new level, to get to the next level, rather than rising to the top of that. And they say, well, that's enough. You can't, you tried, you can't do it. And whatever they wanted to say, but they're all gone. Every one of them, including my wife.
There you go. Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah. I have to say that the people that you surround yourself with, that's the base. That's the environment. That's the first level. Remember, I was talking about 6 layers of a person's brain. The first level of a person's self is their environment, and it includes the people around us. So that is very important that we set this straight. It's the first step. Are people around you supporting you? And it starts with ourselves as well. Are we believing in ourselves, right? So it's not just everybody around us, and we cannot just point fingers and say, well, of course I don't have my dream job because look at who's around me. Well, we still need to go to the other 5 layers of a person's self, and then look into our beliefs, into our values, into our identity, our skills, our behaviors, our purpose. So there's lots of other things to consider. But the environment is, if it's a very toxic environment, we cannot really go far without a positive environment around us.
And isn't it? I'll give you an example that I've used in the past, and that is when I was in my early 20s, I was an actor, and I was doing stage plays, and I did Fiddler on the Roof, a show called Dark at the Top of the Stairs, and also Taming of the Shrew, and I was the lead. I was Patricio, and The interesting thing about that is you cannot do that and have a doubt about what you're going to do. Yes, you prepare, you understand your lines, but if you are standing there right before the curtain opens and you're saying, God, I'm going to forget my lines and I don't know my blocking and I'm not going to be believable and they're going to boo me off the stage, you're not going to be successful. You have to believe in yourself at some level.
Yeah.
And that's now what level would that be on in the scale of 6?
That's in the beliefs and value. So it's what we believe is true, is how we associate different events and how we respond to them. So I'll give you an example because you talked about stepping on stage. So let's say we talk about Mark and Cindy. So Mark is about to step on stage and his heart starts to beat really fast. And you can probably relate to that. Because then you can hear the crowd, you can hear the music playing and it's fading away. So it's going to be time to step on stage. So your heart is pounding and then your mouth gets dry. Your palms get sweaty, right? So then Mark is about to step on stage and his heart is pounding. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out. His mouth gets dry. And then he says, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget my lines. And then his palms get sweaty. And he says, oh no, that's a sign I'm probably going to screw it up tonight. So then Karen is on the other side. She's on stage left. And the music is playing and it's starting to fade. It's going to be time for her to step on stage because she's in the first scene with Mark. And then Cindy, her heart starts pounding like crazy. And her mouth gets dry. And her palms get sweaty. Same physiological responses to that same event. So she says, oh my gosh, my heart is beating so fast. I'm pumping energy. My mouth is getting dry. That means that I'm going to be super eloquent tonight. My palms are sweaty. That's a sign I'm going to knock it out of the park. So you could decide what it means for you. You could decide to respond to a different story in your head. And a lot of times, if things happen to us a couple times where your palms get sweaty and then you get nervous and then you do something bad, then sometimes you generalize because that's one of the functions of the brain. The brain has 4 major different functions and generalizing is one of them. You do something once and your brain really likes to compartmentalize all these little things into neat little boxes. And then it generalizes that once it has happened a couple times, it will always happen this way. Or there's a lot of generalization like blondes have a lot more fun, or generalization like, oh, yeah, teenagers are unreliable staff, or, there's a lot of things that people have generalized, and it's not really true all the time. It's just that we've done some generalization that are not serving us. Or, well, when you make more money, you spend more money. So you always live paycheck to paycheck. So these generalizations are also known as limiting beliefs. And that's in the belief, the 4th layer of a person's brain. It's those beliefs that are holding us back. And then you get to the identity level 5, which is the I am. Everything you say after the I am shy, or I am nervous, or I am weak, I am not good enough. And the problem is when these problems happen at these levels, at the I am not good enough, people try to fix that at another level. So they try to fix the identity problem, I am not good enough, with an environmental solution, buying a big truck or expensive designer shoes, right? Like, it's not going to work. You can't fix at environment level a problem that's happening at identity level. Or if you have a limiting belief that when you lose weight, you will always gain it back. A lot of people have this limiting belief and they try to fix that at level 2 at behaviors like exercising and eating well. They try to exercise and eat well, but this is a behavior. You need to change the belief that when you lose weight, you'll always gain it back. Because if you have that belief in your mind, it's not by exercising and eating well, which is just behavior, that you're going to fix the belief. You need to fix the belief at the belief level. You need to change that. Does that make sense?
Oh, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Now, I want to open up the phone lines a little bit, if that's all right with you. We didn't discuss it beforehand. And if somebody is interested, here's the deal, everybody. You are probably maybe left to work and or having lunch. You stopped and got your lunch and you're in your car and you're listening to the radio and you just happened. And this happened just the other day on the show. A gal called and she said, I just got into the car and I was tuning the dial and I ran across your station and this is what you were talking about and it made a big difference to me. And so I was really curious. And of course that was all just pure coincidence. No, it was by design that they were going to show up that day because they needed to hear that message. And very much so, if you're sitting in your car and you're having lunch and you're enjoying the show, because we're talking with Nathalie, who's one of the premier coaches in the world today, and mindset change and confidence coach and everything that she does. If you are lacking that, if you feel like you can do more but don't know how to get there, she can help you. So what I would love for you to do is to give us a call, and Nathan is going to give you the numbers, and you can then talk with us, and we can help you help yourself, because we can't fix it for you, but we can help you help yourself. Is that correct, Nathalie?
Absolutely.
Nathan, what are the numbers?
Those phone numbers are 425-373-5527 or toll free at 1-888-298-5569. That'll get you into the Positive Talk Radio Show with Kevin McDonald and Nathalie Plamondon-Thomas. It's hard for me too, Kevin. I even had trouble typing it.
Oh, that makes me feel so much better. So Nathalie, if you could give us your full name again.
Nathalie Plamondon-Thomas. Yeah.
Perfect. And you can go to thinkyourself.com and you can find out all the information about her. You can hire her as a speaker, as a coach. She's got books that you can buy, programs that you can access, all kinds of different things. So again, our phone number is, and we're going to take a quick break to give you a chance to, put on your big girl or big boy pants and to give us a call, and because it can help you, and you'll never get anywhere if you don't ask any questions and if you don't really strive for it. So if you are interested in being better tomorrow than you are today, this is the show. This is the time for you to give us a call. And again, that number is 425-373-5527. And we're talking with Nathalie, and think yourself happy, think yourself confident, think yourself into a whole new world. But you got to give us a call and we'll work you through it. So give us a call right now. We're going to take a real quick break. Nathalie is with us, and we will be right back after these, just 2 minutes. So that gives you lots of time to put your big boy pants on and to give us a call. Okay. So now Nathan is standing there waiting. So we'll be right back.
When you want to say more than words communicate, you can with flowers. Your custom boutique floral studio in Bothell, Washington is anaturaldesign.com, connecting you to nature through the language of flowers. Where your people are is where our flowers are beautiful. Your success is our goal. Now through New Year's Eve, here's your exclusive bonus for being our appreciated listener. Type in promo code Positive Talk Radio at checkout to receive $20 off your order. Our gift to you for being here with us today. anaturaldesign.com.
Hey there. I'm excited that you're listening right now, and if you like what we're doing here, you're going to love positivetalkradio.net. On positivetalkradio.net, each show, which is recorded live, is packed with positive information, with real people discussing real issues and positive solutions that can work for everyone. I hope that you'll join us on positivetalkradio.net and listen to all 340 plus shows. I think it's worth your time. But then, that's just me. That's positivetalkradio.net, your home for great progressive, positive podcasts. And welcome back, everybody, to Positive Talk Radio, right here on KKNW 1150 AM. My name is Kevin McDonald. I'm your host, and Nathan is standing right there, and it doesn't look like you're answering the phone, young man.
It hasn't been 2 minutes yet. That was a pretty quick commercial break.
Yeah, he really was. Well, there are times when I'll play a couple of more, but in this particular case, this guest is so dynamic and it's such great information that I kind of shortened it a little bit. The boss gets mad at me, but I'm the boss, but I guess that's okay. So in any event, we're talking with Nathalie. I'm not even going to Thomas.
Nathalie P. Thomas. Just go with it.
Oh, perfect.
Just
Nathalie P. Thomas.
Nathalie P. Thomas.
I can do. And she is an extraordinary coach, and she's a wonderful human being, and she's interested in helping you achieve the best that you can be. And we all, Nathalie, I'm a little bit older now, and I recognize that life is, I don't know if I can say this on the radio, but life is terminal. You're only going to be here for so long, and then you're not going to be here anymore. And so while you're here, it's important for you to be what you wanted to be before you even came here, and to follow your heart and to follow everything that you've always wanted to be is within your grasp. All you have to do is want it and understand the method that you use to get there. And again, I'm going to invite you to give us a call one more time, 425-373-5527. And Nathalie, do you agree with that statement that we're not here forever, and that we are, if we're not living our best life every day, we're wasting our life needlessly?
100%, Kevin. It's I like to give the analogy of a drawer. Like inside that drawer, you have all the answers, all you at your very best, full potential. Like, when you're at your very best, like you're feeling amazing, you're feeling great, you feel that you feel genuinely happy. You have this moment where you're like, you know what, I got this. I'm very happy. I'm satisfied. I said the right thing. I was at my very best, because too often you finish a day and you say, I wish I had done this. I wish I had said that. You recall a conversation and you think, should have said this instead, or I should have answered that. And all these answers, all you at your very best is inside this drawer. And it's inside your brain, and you just open the drawer and you respond. But the problem is, when we go through life, a whole bunch of junk gets accumulated in the drawer over top of your best self. And all that stuff is a whole bunch of crap that we need to get rid of, because let's say you've got this super stressful conversation at work, or you've got these bills to pay, or this is all on top of the drawer. And you're in the kitchen cooking dinner. Your daughter comes behind you and says, "Hey, Daddy." And you're like, "What?" And you're like, "Oh, this is not how I wanted to respond. I did not want to say that to my daughter." You knew the answer in your drawer. You have the perfect answer. And it is, "Yes, sweetie, what can I do for you?" That's what you wanted to say. But you were responding with all the stuff that was accumulated over top of that perfect response in your drawer. And that was not your very best. You were responding with emotional reaction. So with anger, with fear, with sadness, with guilt, with hurt, with all the stuff that we need to disconnect, that we need to get rid of, because it's not helping us to respond with all this junk. That's what I do for a living. I help people get rid of the stuff in their drawer that is no longer serving them. We disconnect the emotional connection. So instead of responding with fear, or responding with anger, or responding with not our best self, we can have access right as soon as you open the drawer, you get access to your best self, and you can live your full potential. You at your very best, because we know what to do. We know what we should be doing. And most times we just don't do it. Right?
Oh, the same that happened to me this week, as a matter of fact, because I flew into Spokane on Monday afternoon, and I went to a hotel to stay there, and the front desk gal was there, and it was like I was just checking in, and so we had a nice conversation, and I was pleasant and smiling and stuff like that, which I generally am all the time anyway. And so then I stayed the night and then went to court and sat there and sat there and sat there. Mm-hmm. And they came out about 4:00 in the afternoon and said, well, you know what? We're not going to get to you today. And so we're hopeful to get to you tomorrow. So then I grabbed my stuff and I went back to the rental car and I got back to the hotel. I chose to go back to the same hotel because I checked out already. So because I was only going to be there one day. Same girl is at the front desk. And she goes, you're back? I said, yeah, they canceled another day and stuff. And so I stayed that night. And we had another pleasant conversation and stayed that night and then went to work and went back to the courthouse and waited.
And waited.
And waited until finally at 3:30 they called me to testify, and I was done by 4:20, but it was getting dark, and there in Spokane right now, there's like a foot of snow on the ground. And so it's snowy everywhere, and the roads, it was 20 degrees, and I didn't want to drive, and I couldn't get a flight out. So I tried to get a flight, couldn't get a flight out, and ended up renting a car so that I could drive back to Seattle. So I had to spend another night in the hotel. And at this point, I spent time in the court. I spent time at the rental car. I spent time at the airline trying to get book a flight that I could not get. And the rental car and so I had the choice. For me, it was a clear choice. I could be angry at the situation that I had no control over, and take it out on the first human being that I interacted with, which again was the same night clerk at the hotel. So it was like 3 nights in a row. And so I could have made that decision to be angry and look what they did to me and woe is me and stuff, rather than I was pleasant and nice. We had a nice conversation. We laughed a bit about the fact that I was here again. She said, you better not come back tomorrow. I'm not going to let you in. And, and stuff. But so it's a choice that we get to make as how we're going to respond to those things in life that happen to us. Is that right?
Correct. We are making a choice. Sometimes it's deep rooted at an unconscious level. So you've done a lot of work yourself, Kevin, and you are consciously using your tools, using your strategies in order to make these choices. Very often when I work with people, an emotional prefrontal cortex overload, you can't really control that. you like if you don't have the tool, if you did not do the pre-work, let's say, and we're not bad people because we lash out in anger. We just have a lot of accumulated anger that was not dealt with, and it's perfectly normal. Just like going to the dentist, people eat food gets stuck. It's perfectly normal. You've never told one of your friends, what? You go to the dentist? Oh, well, we don't judge our friend because they go to everybody goes to the dentist. Everybody has cavities sometimes, and it's perfectly normal. I'm like a brain dentist. So if you have cavities, it's normal that you'll go to the dentist and get the filling done. It's not by brushing your teeth very, very well with a good toothpaste over top of the cavity that the cavity is going to go away. So that's how I try to explain to people. I know you're doing everything right. Sometimes you just need your fillings done. And I'm going to give you an example of, I do a lot of PTSD work, trauma with Army vet, with people that have been through trauma, through abuse, to rape, through kidnapping, through their spouse passed away in a very tragical way, or there's lots of things that happen to people, and that creates an emotional connection to some triggers. And this happens at an unconscious level. You can't really do that at a logical level and say, I'm just going to choose to be happy right now. It's just a little deeper than that sometimes. So that's why I'm saying it's not as easy as telling somebody, oh, you just have to choose to be happy. Well, tell that to a veteran that's coming back from the field, right? So there are tools, there are strategies, there are things we can do, and there is some work that can can be done at an unconscious level to make sure that we get rid of that connection with the emotion that was coming in with that trigger. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And I agree with you. It is about not only doing the work, but understanding that there is work to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Because so many of us don't really recognize, we act the way we act. So I've heard that so many times. People say, well, that's just the way I am. That's just the way I act. And there's just nothing I can do. Just the way I am. Sorry. Take me or leave me, but that's just the way I am. It doesn't have to be if you do the work. But the work is, and oftentimes when we're talking about rape or we're talking about PTSD or traumatic situations, you need help.
Yeah,
you need someone to help you with that, and because it's virtually impossible to do it on your own. At least that's been my experience. Is that true?
You can't really tickle yourself, right? Like, like try it and it just doesn't work, right?
That is so funny. That is so good. I hadn't thought of that.
I know exactly what to do myself. I know how to do that. I do this day in, day out. That's why people tell me. That's why people pay me is for me to do that for them. I know all the steps. I know exactly what to do. I can't do it for me. I also have 2 different coaches that I work with when I need a process done, when I need a certain protocol done or whatever. I work with fellow practitioners and they help me. And it's perfectly normal. It's not like I don't eat food and I don't never need to go to the dentist. Everybody does. It's normal. Everybody has a problem with anger, fear, hurt, sadness, guilt. These are the top 5. And sooner or later, they start showing up in our life between the age of 0 and 7. So if you're older than 7 years old, you've experienced all these 5. Anger, fear, hurt, sadness, guilt. You've experienced traumatic event. There's a lot of ways, and I really recommend that you reach out if there's anything that sounds that could apply to you, because traumatic event, you don't need to have been in a house on fire in order to experience trauma. Sometimes it's that conversation that you replay in your head. Sometimes it's people that are afraid of flying, or people that have vertigo, or there's very often a trauma that is causing that. Or if it's a grief that you're trying to get over, that it's been many, many years. I've just helped a woman that her husband passed away 20 years ago and she was still not fully recovered. She kept having nightmares. She kept having flashbacks. So if you have flashbacks of something that happened to you, even if it's really normal, like a conversation, or that potentially is PTSD. And I'm happy to have a free virtual coffee with you. We'll evaluate. So I used the PSSI form, which is a formal form to evaluate the subjective units of distress, if you like, just so that we know your score, and then we can tell if it is this PTSD or is it not, and would you be helped with the protocol that I use in order to get rid of that, because we don't know all the impact that these trauma can have on our life, and I'm very happy to just have a virtual coffee with you. So go to thinkyourself.com/schedule. So thinkyourself.com/schedule, and then you can book a free virtual coffee with me. I'm happy to offer that to all your audience and your listeners today. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And by the way, and I'm just going to do a public announcement here, public service announcement, and that is we have a new number in the United States, and I want everybody to write this number down. If you can't remember, write it down. It's really simple. It's 988. It is a crisis hotline for PTSD and other trauma events that you can get immediate help from somebody on the other line who's trained to be able to help you and to if you're feeling suicidal, if you're feeling like it can't get any better, call 988. I just wanted to get that out there.
Wow, I didn't know that. It's like the 911 or the 411, and it's the 988.
988.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So and then after you do that and you climb down off the ceiling, then call Nathalie and go to thinkyourself.com and sign up for a free coffee, and you can sit and talk with her and she is an honest to goodness real person, and she's extraordinary. So that's what you do, or save that number for somebody else, or think yourself. Thinkyourself.com is a number that you can give to anybody, and or a website if you have a friend. We all have a friend. If you are, whatever your situation is, and there's some horrific situations out there. So, do that for Nathalie, and do that for yourself, really, honestly. And so Nathalie, where do you see yourself going from here? I see you on TV sometime.
Mm-hmm. There's lots of things coming up for me. I honestly, you're going to laugh. I've written 17 books, and I'm just at the end of the month. So I think in about 2 weeks, so it might be into January, I'm launching my new book, Think Yourself Confident. So that's why I said you're going to laugh, because Think Yourself Confident should have been my very first book.
Yeah.
and I have 17 books, and I still have not written Think Yourself Confident. That's really interesting. But I've written everything else in the Think Yourself series: Think Yourself Successful, Think Yourself a Relationship Pro, Think Yourself Healthy, Think Yourself Grateful, Think Yourself. But I did not have Think Yourself Confident yet. It's one of the masterpiece I feel like I've started years ago, and I keep adding to it, and now it's time. It's time for me to release my baby. So I'm very excited about that. So this is going to be the next piece. I've got so many pre-orders already from businesses who are buying this for the whole staff, for all their clients. We're going to be custom printing the inside cover of the book with a letter from the CEO of the company, and then on the inside cover at the back, we'll put a special message from them as well. So we have, so that's my next big project. Let's say is the launch of the Think Yourself Confident books. I'm very excited about that.
That's really cool, because the Think Yourself is a franchise all unto it. It's like Chicken Soup for the Soul. Is what you're doing, and because there are a bunch of those books out, and you're doing the same thing in different aspects of how to improve your life, so that you can live the life that the universe and spirit and God, whoever you call the creator, that's who they decided that's who you should be. And sometimes life gets in the way, but you can make it. You can do it. You really can. And congratulations. I think that's awesome.
I'm very excited about it. I love it. I usually, when I finish a book, it's already old and I don't love it anymore. Like when you drive off the parking lot with a brand new car, it's already old and it already lost like 10 grand of value, right? As soon as you drive off the parking lot from the dealership. But I have to say that this book is so awesome. I've worked so hard on it. I'm very happy with it. I can't wait for it to be out there in the world, and it's a good one. It's a good one.
I'm very proud of you, and I want to thank you very much for you've come on my show a couple of times.
Yes,
and I really appreciate you coming here, and we have such dynamic conversations. It's really a lot of fun. Will you come back and bother me again?
Absolutely. I had so much fun, Kevin. You're one of the best hosts, and what I love is that it's a conversation. It's not nothing was planned, actually. This was, I love that we just have a conversation, and you have great stories, and it's really fun. It's really fun interacting with you and Nathan.
It is. I have to tell you, and this is really true, is I don't script any of the shows, because they are by design going to happen the way that they're supposed to. And I firmly believe, and I know this to be true, that there is, like I said earlier, there is somebody who is sitting in their car in the driveway of their home. They don't have an AM radio in the house, and they're sitting in the car with the engine on because it's cold outside, listening to this show because they're getting information that they need that can change their life. I really honestly believe that to be true.
Absolutely. Can I give your audience a quick 2-step technique?
Yes.
That's really useful. So let's say you hear a limiting belief in your head, like, oh, I'm so stressed out. And now you're like, oh no, what did I just say? If I keep repeating, I'm so stressed out, I'm going to be stressed out. So what can I do? So the first step is to rephrase what you just heard in the past. So you use I used to be stressed out. So that's step number one. Step number two is a progressive statement. A progressive statement starts with I am willing to learn, or I'm in the process of. So start over. You hear yourself say, oh, I'm so stressed out all the time. Wait a minute. I used to be stressed out. Now I'm willing to learn how to build a balanced life. Now I'm in the process of changing that. Or I used to be a shopaholic. I used to, have chips as my downfall. Or I used to, whatever it is, be addicted to donuts. And now I'm willing to learn how to change that. So change that with that two-step technique, because you do have a personal assistant in your head that's writing down everything that you say or think, and it makes it happen. So if you get up in the morning, like most people, look at yourself in the mirror and you go, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so stressed out. Oh, I think I'm gaining weight. Then your personal assistant would write it down. Stressed out, tired, gaining weight. Perfect. I got this. Tired. What can I do for this? Oh, I know. I'm going to make her stay awake all night. So she's not going to be able to sleep. She's going to be really tired in the morning. Check. Stressed out. Oh, I'm going to make her delete a very important appointment in her calendar. That's going to be stressful. Check. Gaining weight. Oh, I know. I can certainly find a chocolate bar or something deep fried for her to eat today. Check. So your personal assistant is always listening. So whenever you think something bad or you say something out loud that you're like, oh no, I shouldn't have said that, or I'm shy, or I'm this, or I'm that, immediately rephrase it in the past. I used to think that I was shy. I used to think that when I made more money, I spent more. I used to think that I was stressed out all the time. Now I'm willing to change that, or I'm in the process of changing that. This is a very different way of doing affirmations, because people do affirmations all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And they look at themselves in the mirror and they go, they have 500 pounds to lose, and they look at themselves and say, I am thin. No. Or people that are in deep financial struggle, we work with the Think Yourself Wealthy program, and then they look at themselves in the mirror and they say, okay, I am rich. Their personal assistant is in their head and like, no, we're not. What is he talking about? What is she talking? This is nonsense. Oh, we must be watching a vampire movie. Vampires don't exist. I'm not writing this down on my list. So affirmations don't work if you don't believe them. So use the progressive statement. Use the, I used to think that I was a shopaholic. Now I'm willing to learn how to save money. Now I'm willing to learn how to manage my money well. Now I'm willing to learn how to change that, as opposed to, I am rich. Well, no, this not that way it works, right?
Exactly. And Nathan, I got to ask you, you've been sitting there watching or listening intently. Does that make sense to you?
It does. And I can think of many ways where I can actually apply that. In fact, tonight I'll be able to apply that.
Oh, you care to share?
I play in a pool league, and I've noticed that for some reason, when I'm playing pool on Friday as opposed to Monday, I'm always really jittery or maybe anxious about the match I'm playing. So when I'm playing my match, I can say, okay, I used to be anxious. Now I'm going to focus on my match and do what I need to do to run a table.
Yes, exactly. I used to. So put it in the past. So now your personal assistant is like, oh yeah, jittery. I have this on my list right here. He said that every Friday he wanted to be jittery. And okay, so, oh wait, he just said that in the past. Nathan, why are we talking about this in the past? Are we done with this? Do I scratch that off my list or what? So now it's time to do your progressive statement. Now I'm in the process of changing that. Now I'm willing to learn how to focus on my match. So it's the perfect example. Yeah, that's brilliant.
And that's such a different mentality, because in the previous weeks, I would think to myself, man, I'm jittery. I need to calm down. Not, just simply changing that to I used to be jittery is just a whole world of difference.
It feels different when you say it, right?
Absolutely.
The fun thing about that is you are then allowed and are able to use that jittery feeling, that energy that is coming from you, and you can use it to perform better. And which is what top athletes and Nathalie will tell you, that's what top athletes do, is they use their energy in a positive way rather than worrying about whether you're going to make that shot or not. I remember when I was in school and played baseball, I remember if there was a full count and I was like, oh, is it going to be a ball or is it going to be a strike? And then if he throws a strike, am I going to swing? If it's a ball, am I going to? There were lots of times it was like, okay, I'm going to swing. No, I'm not. It's going to be a ball. It's going to strike 3. Oh no. But there were times when I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm going to hit the ball a long way this time, and I'm not going to be worried about it. I know I can do this, and that's when I do it. And it's just how it works. By the way, let's go over your information again, Nathalie. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, it's thinkyourself.com. Is that right?
Absolutely. Thinkyourself.com, or you can go to thinkyourself.com/schedule to book a free virtual coffee with me. And why don't you, maybe I'll give you also one extra, thinkyourself.com/confidence guide. So that's a guide with lots of questions to talk to you about all the different layers of the brain that I was talking about. So thinkyourself.com/confidence guide. That you can go, it's a free download. So you can just download that for free with all 6 layers of the brain, lots of questions to get you to the next level of your confidence.
Do you think it's possible for you to think yourself into another hour with me right now, Nathan? We got so much more to talk about, and Nathan's going to make us go away in 30 seconds. So, Nathalie, I want to thank you very much for being here and taking care of our audience the way that you do. It really is an important thing, and I hope that everybody takes it to heart. You're better than you think you are. You can do anything you want to do. And by the way, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. We'll see you next time.